You know, early in my career, I'll be honest with you guys, I thought jerkbaiting was a pre-spawns, you know, cold wintertime type bait, and through trial and error and through hard knocks, I've learned that it's a bait that I have tied on year round. It's simple. The reason, because there is a minnow of some type everywhere I'm gonna fish across the country, and there's no better bait that's gonna imitate that or mimic that than this 110 jerkbait. Just from the colors, the action, how erratic that thing is, the castability, the greatest jerkbait ever. And now Megabass has brought out the silent version, which is gonna be critical, huge for me, because you know, so many of the situations that you're throwing a jerkbait, there's getting to be a lot of pressure on these fish. And now I have a bait that doesn't have the rattles in it, doesn't make the noise. This gives me a whole nother weapon to catch those wary fish. You know, some of them, that you'll see a lot of fish come up and they won't commit, and it has to do with the noise that those baits make. So now with this silent bait, it's gonna be really, really key for me in a lot of situations. There's a prime example of it right there. It doesn't have the noise, doesn't have the moving balancer system that makes that big knock. It's just gonna be a silent bait in those clear water situations for those wary fish. It's gonna be really, really key. You know, generally for me, when I'm trying to choose a color for a jerkbait, you know, so many different ones out there to pick from, I try to have the see-through colors for my clearer, sunnier days. I want a bait that I can see through, that, you know, actually transmits light. When I get in dark situations like cloudy days or darker water, I want a solid color, one that I can't see all the way through. And those are basically just the most simple rule as far as choosing your colors. You know, also try to know what kind of forage you have in your lake. You know, if you're way north, you obviously don't have shad. If you're way south, you might not have yellow perch. So what separates the Megabass jerkbait family is the action and what it does. You know, the erratic kick each side to side, the roll, the flash, then how it can stop. You know, when I throw slack to the line, that bait stops instantly, and that just, to me, I picture in the water that jerkbait being an injured bait fish, and then all of a sudden it just stops, and that fish that's following, man, they have no choice but to eat it. So many of the bites that I have, you know, on a jerkbait are in the paws, you know, like especially in the cold water situations or even in the warm water situations. And it's that secondary bait movement that the bait has that separates it. That, you know, when that thing's paws, it kind of kicks back to center and has a little shimmy while it's sitting there that I can't impart into the bait. So anytime I have a bait that has an action built into it, it's just one other advantage to help catch more fish. In my jerkbait fishing, the cadence, the retrieve, the depth, those are all the keys that I change through the seasons. Early in the spring, late in the winter, I may want that bait to sit for a long period of time. I may want it to really suspend, not rise any, you know, and then as the year progresses, I'm gonna put bigger line on that bait, maybe bring that bait up in the water column by that bigger line, you know, having more resistance in the water to keep it up a little higher, say over a grass bed or over a shallow shoal, and I'm gonna jerk it a lot faster. So there's lots of variances there that an angler needs to trial and error for all the different seasons and the times that the bait is being used. Oh yeah. You know, it's one thing to be really observant when you're out there, no matter what. You know, I'm fishing down this edge, and right out in front of the boat, they started blowing shad. And I took that 110 Silent, jerked it out there, paused it right there amongst it, and bam, got a bite right off the bat. Nice little fat smallmouth. See if there's another one out there. You know, in my opinion, anytime you try to put this bait in a box of just clear water or just smallmouth or just wintertime, I've learned that I'm making a mistake. Man, I can catch them in a lot dirtier water than I've ever dreamed of. I can catch them in the fall, I can catch them in the summer, I can catch them in a lot of other times than just those boxes that I put this bait into. It's really amazing me. And it just goes to show, I've been doing this 20 years. I'm still learning to this day of different ways to fish all kinds of baits, and definitely the jerkbait. As an angler, we've got to continue to evolve, and Megabass has to continue to give me the tools to stay one step ahead. The 110 Silent is a prime example of another tool that I have. It's going to help me stay ahead of the curve, stay ahead of the challenges with all the added fishing pressure.
One more time, Oklahoma!
And now when you take that moving balancer out of it, you take those rattles out of it, all you have is a minnow, one that looks real, or a perch, or an emerald shine, or whatever it is that I'm trying to imitate. It's just really critical, and the action is still there that you need for that wounded bait fish that you're trying to imitate.